Hi. In college writing, professors often use direction words like analyze, compare, evaluate, or discuss. These words are important because they tell you what kind of answer is expected. They help you save time, organize your ideas, and give your professor exactly what they are looking for. In this video tutorial, we will look at some of the most common direction words and learn what they mean, where you will find them, and how to respond. The first words are list or enumerate. These ask you to give the main points in a simple order. Use short phrases or bullet points. You don't need long explanations. For example, list the major causes of World War I or enumerate the steps in the scientific method.
Next comes diagram. This asks you to show information visually. It could be a drawing, chart, or outline that shows how the parts connect. Labels and clarity matter more than artistic skill. For example, diagram the parts of a cell, or diagram the structure of the court system in the US. Trace or organize chronologically asks you to explain events or ideas in the order they happened. Show how one step leads to the next. For example, trace the development of modern psychology or organize the events of the civil rights movement chronologically. This skill is also very important in literature reviews, where you show how ideas or theories have changed over time. With describe, you give a detailed picture of something, its features, parts, or qualities. Focus on what it is like, not on judging it. For example, describe the main functions of the respiratory system, or describe the setting of the story. In research writing, description often appears in the methods section or in summaries of data. Outline asks you to give the main points in logical order, but without full detail. Think of it as the skeleton of your answer. For example, outline the key arguments for and against universal healthcare. Outlining is also very useful when planning essays or research papers. Define means to give the exact meaning of a word or concept. Keep it short and precise. Sometimes you also explain what the term does not include. For example, define globalization or define cognitive dissonance. Definitions are especially important at the start of essays and research papers. With explain, you go beyond description. You show how something works or why it happens. Break it into steps so it is easy to follow. For example, explain how photosynthesis works, or explain why World War I is called a global conflict. In research papers, explanation is important for connecting your evidence to your argument. With compare, you point out the similarities between two or more things. For example, compare Piaget's and Vygotsky's theories of learning, or compare the US and Canadian healthcare systems. In research, comparison is useful for showing how studies or ideas connect to one another. Contrast asks you to highlight the differences between two or more things. Focus on what sets them apart. For example, contrast qualitative and quantitative research methods. In research, contrast is helpful for identifying gaps, disagreements, or competing perspectives. Summarize asks you to give only the main points. Leave out smaller details and focus on the big ideas. For example, summarize the main arguments in the article or summarize the plot of the novel. Remember that a summary is different from an outline. An outline shows the structure of your answer, while a summary condenses the content into just the key ideas. Analyze means to break something into parts and show how the parts connect. Look for patterns, relationships, and meanings. For example, analyze the themes of power in Macbeth, or analyze the results of the experiment. Analysis shows critical thinking and proves you can move from facts to deeper insights. Evaluate means to make a judgment. Show the strengths and weaknesses and support your opinion with reasons and evidence. For example, evaluate the impact of social media on political campaigns. Analyze and evaluate are sometimes confused. Analyze breaks something into parts to understand it, while evaluate weighs those parts to decide how useful or important they are. Justify asks you to defend your answer or decision with good reasons or evidence. Opinions are not enough. You need proof. For example, justify your choice of research method, or justify the importance of renewable energy policies. Evaluate and justify are related but different. Evaluate looks at strengths and weaknesses. Justify supports one position with reasons. Finally, discuss means to give a full, balanced answer. Explain the issue, consider different viewpoints, give examples, and show how everything connects. It is more than just listing points. It is like creating a conversation on paper. For example, discuss the role of technology in modern education or discuss the causes and consequences of climate change. Explain and discuss are sometimes confused. Explain focuses on clarity and detail, while discuss goes wider, including multiple perspectives and interpretations. Direction words are like secret clues in your assignments and exams. They guide you to the right kind of answer, whether it is listing, describing, explaining, analyzing, or evaluating. Paying attention to these words can save you time, keep your writing focused, and help you avoid losing points. The next time you get a prompt, underline the direction word first. It will guide you toward the answer your professor is looking for. Goodbye.